Hey friends, Sean from SGTreport here with just a quick video about 9/11 and truth. So yesterday, September 10th, James Woods tweeted the following, #NeverForget, while showing the Statue of Liberty and the Twin Towers standing in the background, World Trade Center number 1 and 2. And I like James Woods. He speaks quite a bit of truth, and I believe he's truly a libertarian. And I think he probably knows the truth about 9/11. My question is, why should we just never forget 9/11 and show the Twin Towers? Why don't we never forget World Trade Center 7 and the BBC reporting about its collapse 20 minutes early? With reporter Jane Stanley reporting live from New York City via satellite to BBC headquarters, where this exchange took place, with World Trade Center 7 still standing behind her.
Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center.
Details are very sketchy indeed, Jane, because that is the Salomon Brothers building, World Trade Center 7, standing directly behind you. And you're reporting that that building has already collapsed. The feed fails, and some 20 to 25 minutes later, World Trade Center 7 collapsed at freefall speed, a collapse that NIST could not explain for 6 or 7 years and finally came up with something scientifically never even heard of before, this theory of progressive collapse, which their computer models failed to prove. And by the way, I would love to report so much of the good news going on, and I will continue to report about the posts that Q shares, but Q is guilty of doing the exact same thing as James Woods. With Q posting about 9/11, we will never forget, we will never forgive. Well, who is it that we will never forgive? Is it the Mossad? How about we never forget the fact that Mossad agents went back to Israel, appeared on a talk show, and said our purpose was to document the event.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Our purpose was to document the event. Let's think about that for one quick second. My question is, how do you document an event without prior knowledge? Simple question, and one the 9/11 Commission failed to ask regarding the Mossad agents that were detained and after several weeks sent back to Israel with no charges against them. I do believe our cup is half full with President Trump in the White House, certainly as compared with the witch Hillary Clinton being there. But the elephant in the room continues to be the Zionist influence on our country and on the administration. And now we're hearing more war drums for Syria. Mike Pence was on the Sunday morning shows, and I want to share that clip, along with Rick Wiles from True News and his justified outrage regarding Pence's statements.
We all know what happened in Aleppo. We're watching it all very closely. But what's different with President Trump from President Obama is this president drew a red line and enforced it on chemical weapons. President Obama drew a red line, said, no, you can't use chemical weapons, and then allowed Assad in Syria to go forward and victimize countless civilians.
But sir, dead is dead. I understand. I take your point about the chemical weapons.
I want to make it very, very clear, as a wider world is watching, is that the United States of America and our allies will take swift and decisive action against any use of chemical weapons in the Idlib province.
There may very well be a chemical attack carried out by the jihadists that the West has backed.
Right.
But it's planned. It's a false flag. They're telling the world when this event's going to happen, and when it happens, we're going to use it as justification to attack Syria. He mentioned Aleppo. He says, we all watched Aleppo. Mr. Pence, are you aware that ISIS jihadists with American weapons and ammo slaughtered thousands of Aleppo Christians? Are you aware that the reason that the Syrian army and the Russian army surrounded Aleppo was to stop the massacre of Christians that was being carried out by the jihadists armed by the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel? I'm tired of the propaganda, Mr. Pence. I'm fed up with it. I'm a Christian, and I'm fed up with the propaganda.
And Rick Wiles is absolutely right. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. When will it end? How much truth has to spill out and spill between the cracks? The ball being carried, of course, by the alt news media, the truth media. How much more propaganda are the American people willing to stand for? And Mike Pence is just as guilty of it as anyone. Because now today we see this news item: staged filming of false flag chemical attacks has begun in Idlib, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense. According to Russia's state media channels, this morning the anti-Assad insurgents in Idlib have begun filming fake footage of chemical attacks. According to the information received from inhabitants of Idlib province, militants are now filming a staged provocation where chemical weapons are depicted as being used by the Syrian army against civilians. The film crews of several Middle Eastern TV channels arrived in Izar al-Shagur, a name I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, in the morning, as well as the regional affiliates of one of the main American television news networks, probably CNN. This absolute outrage must be showcased because we cannot allow ourselves to be hoodwinked into yet more war on the back of more lies, which brings me full circle. Never forget, never forgive 9/11. Let's remember Building 7. Let's remember the BBC reporting about that building's collapse 25 minutes early. And let's remember the Mossad agents who went back to Israel and said on television that their purpose was to document the event.
Our purpose was to document the event.
I'll continue to report about Q and the white hat counter coup to support and save our republic. But truth is truth. And when Q posts about 9/11 saying, "We will never forget, we will never forgive," it is a lie of omission. How about we never forget the truth of 9/11, World Trade Center 7, the BBC, and the dancing Mossad agents who said their purpose was to document the event. For real news, 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com. God bless.